What's going on, everybody? This is Roger of the Misfit Effect. And of course, I'm joined with my wonderful, brilliant, beautiful, always outstanding co-host, the lovely Miss Sarah Lace.
Thank you, thank you. So today we are doing two podcasts in one. Of course, they will be spaced out separately, but oh, we have another nice one for you. Let me give you that little hint. Um, this is the gorgeous Isabella Nice. Okay.
Hello. Thanks for
So,
having me today.
Miss
I
Isabella,
feel
for
proud of
the
myself for that one, but that was pretty lame, huh?
Yeah,
hey,
it was
hey,
good.
we
We
all we
got
we we,
it.
we all love puns.
We do, we
So,
do.
Miss Isabella, for the unfortunate souls out there who don't know who you are, who need to get their brain checked, who are you?
I have been an adult film star for 6 years now, so you might recognize me if you go on the hub. And I also am a legal brothel worker, so
But like on the side note, if you go on the hub, go to the pay side, the pay one so you can pay her so she can get paid. Don't try to get it for
exactly.
free.
Go to
You
those
hooligans. Go to her OnlyFans. Get a custom. No. Get 8 customs. We
Eight
things.
customs.
8 customs. 8 customs.
Exactly.
Directly 8. And I mean, and then pay for the full extent of her limit. So if she says it's blank for
Mm.
how for like 15 minutes, and that's the longest she goes, pay for the 15 minutes. I want her to buy
Worth
8
it.
of them.
Mhm. I'm all for it. um, what is it that you do as a legal courtesan? Random question, I guess.
So
Can you
as a
explain that a
legal,
little more?
sorry, what was that?
Would you mind explaining that a little bit more for those of us who don't know exactly what that is?
Yeah, of course. So I've worked in a legal brothel. Those have been around forever. I actually work at the one that they did the famous movie with Dolly Parton at, called The Best Little Whorehouse. So we stay there for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and then we have clients come in. We're tested every week, so they have a chance to, have intimate time one-on-one with a provider, which would be me. So it's a nice little job in addition to being on film. I actually get to have more personal relationships with people, so that's nice.
So I want to say this. Because I know some things you can and cannot say about what's going on in a brothel, but so for people who are wanting to come there, like how does that work for like for example, like that Jimmy just said, dang, I want to go to this brothel. Like what is all required for them in order to, partake outside of them paying to be there, doing to have fun, like what's all required?
So on our part, we do have to get tested weekly. On their part, they just have to come in, they have to have their ID in order to go into the establishment, and they have to pass a DC, which is a dick check. So we go over them, make sure everything looks good down there. And if they were able to come to a negotiation, is what it's called, then we're able to party. So kind of how it works.
Huh. Okay. That sounds very like fun and very like a safe environment to be able to partake in certain activities.
Yeah, no, it's great because it allows me to have a safe place to meet fans if they want to see me one-on-one. It's in on my terms, and I'm able to provide a better experience that way too, just because I know that I am safe in that establishment. So
And so, and if they partake, they gotta, it's condom, right? They gotta wear, a rubber, even if they get a DC, right?
yeah, they are legally required to wear a condom, so you definitely have to be doing that in order to have fun at the brothel.
Okay, okay. No, no, I'm just like I'm thinking because like, because you do a DC, you can't really tell what's inside of their DC, inside of their member. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
it's definitely you even sometimes can have girls come in. I'm like, hey, I so and so I need a second opinion, and I call her in and then she checks it. So we have like different scenarios that we run into when it comes to that. But they still legally have to wear a condom, clients that come in. So it works out, you know.
So so what you can and cannot say, when it comes to someone who is coming there, if they like I don't know, they pay for time or they pay for a session.
It kind of really depends on what they want, and I kind of tell them to think of it as a Disneyland for adults, you know? So they can come in and we can do anything from an hour to an overnight. Um, so they're paying more for the experience. I tell them that to think of it as like a vacation. It's a luxury experience that you know you're not going to be able to do every day, but it's something that's memorable and you're going to remember forever. So with that, they kind of think of it as like, okay, let me price point it to what I'd be spending on a vacation, you know?
For example, because I know some people get too excited when they come in, and this is why I was going with this when it came to time because if they get too excited when they come in and like you're Isabella nice, and they could say and they get too excited and they come within like 2 minutes and they pay for an hour and it's kind of like um what do we do now?
Yeah,
And
I
it
get that
doesn't.
a lot. I have a lot of clients come in and they ask me that right away too. They're like, "Oh my goodness, I'm such a fan. What if this and this happens?" And that's why I kind of tell them to think of it as a whole experience because I don't base it off of time really. I mean, I do for the session, but when it comes to like coming and all of that, I start off kind of like I tell them for the girlfriend experience, I start off with a tease or we go in the jacuzzi tub or we do something before we even get to that point in time. So that way we kind of know each other a little bit more and that it's not so rushed, you know? So I always start off with something before we even get to that point. So that way there is that time for them. And then say if they do finish early, I'm like, okay, we can finish off with a massage. We can talk a little bit more. But if they're paying for an hour, I'm like, this is your hour. So it's what you want to do with it within
Mhm.
reason, you know?
So do they get like a recovery period to try again, or I'm trying to say this in like the nicest way for people who
No,
might
you're
feel.
good. You're good. I know it's like it's a kind of
This
a
is
subject we
important
talk so
information.
much about. Yeah, so if they're like, okay, you know what, we usually talk about that and discuss that before we even get
Okay.
we set up the party. So I'm like, okay, if this did happen, would you want to go again? Would you want to hang out in the jacuzzi? Would you want to sit at the bar for a bit? That kind of thing. But you know, it's everything within reason. If the chemistry is good too, if I'm, you know, hanging out with someone that me and whoever we're hitting it off and we both feel it, then you know what? The time comes and we have that again. If they're like, you know, pretty, they come in, they're like, I want to do it 3 times. I have to tell them, you know, biology doesn't work out like that always. So it's embracing the moment and it's kind of timing things. And if we are able to get to a second point where they get to finish a second time, that's awesome. Um, but it's really it's more of going with the flow during the hour, couple hours. It's not just wham bam, you're done. I tell them to look at it as like an experience. So sorry if I'm like, I don't know how to explain it too well, but
Oh no, no,
Oh, that's
you explained it perfectly. I'm just trying to
okay.
make sure I say it in a good way that I'm not offending people who might, be preemies
Mhm.
or like, and then making sure that we get the questions out that, it's like someone who's never been to a brothel like myself could say, okay, I'm educated on what occurs if I walk through the door. Because like you could probably say, what happens if like, let's say like I'm Jimmy in the scenario and I walk through the door. What was the first thing that I'm gonna expect like as a prospective new client? Is a client or a
Client, yeah,
customer or
customer, whatever works in that. But first off, you'd walk through the door. There would be a security guard. They would check your ID, make sure you know you're 21 and over.
damn, I'm
And
only
then
19 years old.
right. No, I actually
I know.
started working at 19. So I worked at one that had like a loophole because it doubled as a restaurant. So I started working at 19 and I'm 27 now. So I've been doing it for a while.
Okay.
But So basically, the client would walk in, get their ID checked. If they want to request a lineup, they could request a lineup. So they would ask the bartender or the madam and be like, hey, I kind of want to see all the girls. Or if they see someone on the bar, they recognize me or they have an appointment, they'd be like, hey, I want to talk to Izzy. And then a shift manager would come get me. I'd come back out, I'd walk them back to my room, and then we would have a negotiation. Or if it was an appointment, I would be like, okay, did you put down a deposit? And then kind of figure out what they want and how much they're going to pay for that experience. Um, so yeah, as a client, it's pretty straightforward. Just, if listen to the girl, be respectful, and you'll end up having a great time.
Understand the last point you just made. Like, no, just I mean, it is just in general from what I know people do as for like, in like in the brothel and like even if they go to a convention and they see an adult star, it's like they don't understand like, yeah, you do this for work, but that doesn't mean you got to be disrespectful, be mean, or be an a-hole about the
Right.
situation because in the brothel, you are attempting to, enter their body, and they
Yeah.
still got the right to say no to you. It's not like,
Exactly. And I tell them that too beforehand. I'm like, if you feel uncomfortable, if I feel uncomfortable, I'm big on communication. And I always tell them that before I even start. I'm like, I need you to communicate with me. I'm going to communicate with you. And that way they kind of know how to act overall if they don't really know, how to act in that scenario. It's not like you do that every day. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of question marks around it. But for the most part, a lot of my clients are super respectful. They're nice. They're aware that I perform on camera, and that's not always who I am in person. And that's like a different level into intimacy that you get to explore with me. That's not on camera. That's not on video. It's a whole different thing because it's actual human interaction, human intimacy, and it's with someone that you have seen on camera before, so you kind of have to uh keep that in mind. So it's definitely a different experience than being on set and filming because it's more hospitality almost. So you're dealing
Mhm.
with that, but at the same time, you do have like fans, like I have fans come in and they're a little bit like shocked, starstruck or whatever. And so you kind of just have to navigate them and make them realize that this is still a human interaction and it's almost like you're kind of teaching intimacy too. So it's
Yeah.
not like I'm just performing, you're actually like teaching someone how to be intimate, in this day and age too. It's super hard, I feel like, for a lot of people to connect to one another.
I have another question then. This is like a two separate question.
Yeah.
Okay, for somebody, let's say, okay, well, you are almost always booked because you're the SHIT. But like, let's say some like, would you recommend someone like purposely make sure that they set a reservation? Because and the reason I ask this is because I feel if someone would want to come see you, for example, and then like Bob came along and booked like 3 hours with you, and he came and this Jim came along like within that first 30 minutes, they have to wait. So do people usually wait that time, or is there a cool off period that you have in the middle of whatever?
So I always tell people too that appointments are the best way to ensure, that I can lock in their time and date because I usually only do a week at a time. I kind of get homesick if I do more than a week. So I kind of do a week and then I don't take everyone. I kind of take it's appointment gets first priority, obviously, especially if they do put down a deposit, because then I know that they're serious. They're not just trying to, like waste time. Or, I don't know, troll. But so I kind of go through my emails a couple times a week and I try to people want to set up appointments. And so, like I said, I recommend that. There are people that come in and request me by seeing me on the bar screen or they recognize me when they come in. They're like, oh, I didn't know, this performer worked here too. And so they come in really with no idea of how it works. And sometimes they don't have enough or they're shocked to know kind of like how it is. ran. And so then they'll make an appointment there for another time. And some people kind of walk in and they're like, hey, I have this amount and it works out. And then we have a party. So it really depends on the circumstance of the person and kind of what, if they already know about the brothel or if they already have done their research versus some people who, they just don't know better because the information isn't like readily available everywhere. So.
Okay. Well, unlike someone of your caliber, let's say Tina works at the club with at the I said club, I'm sorry. At the
Hey,
at the at
it
the
works as a
at
club
the
too, right?
at the location, and let's say Tina's with somebody. Is it usually a cool off period that y'all have in between clients in general, or is it just
It really depends. Some days, honestly, I've seen up to like maybe 5 clients in a day.
okay?
So it could be I wake up at freaking 9 a.m. My makeup's not even done, or even like, I've had appointments at like 6. Someone walks in and they're interested, and I haven't even done my hair yet. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to take you to my room. We're going to talk. And then it works out. And then I have, say, an appointment already scheduled a couple hours later. It really depends on the day
Okay.
and what happens. It's kind of like, if you're working at a strip club, you don't always know exactly how much you're making, but sometimes it's busier than usual, sometimes it's slow, but yeah, it really depends. Some days I don't have any clients while I'm there. So that happens, but I can see up to 5 clients a day. It just depends too. I try to make sure that my mind and body are healthy when I'm like in these circumstances, because
Okay.
that's a big important factor in this job as well. So if I know that I can't see another guy for, whatever reason, I'm feeling mentally drained, physically tired, I'll tell them that they do need to rebook, or not rebook, they already put down the deposit, then they have the appointment. But if someone comes in without making an appointment, I'll let them know that, you can book me this week or set up another appointment in the future because I can't give my best self to you right now. So,
What got is one more question too that goes along with that. So if someone comes in and so this like let's say one of our listeners hears this and they say, okay, I can do all that, and they want to talk to the person before they book with it. Is there like a time limit to like communication? Like, 'cause let's say like if you put 11 beautiful women in front of me
yeah.
and you give me the opportunity to say, okay, I can have an intimate encounter with this person, but I at least want to make sure that like, yeah, whatever, like a quick conversation. Is there like a time limit on a quick conversation you have with this person before I can say, okay, I want to have this intimate interaction with this person?
Yeah, I try to not put a time limit on it. There is still is, the shift manager, and it makes sure that like all the girls in the house are safe and okay when they're talking to, a person they've never met before, possibly. So if it's like over 5 minutes, usually someone will come and knock. They know I actually talk a little bit more, just because I do have fans that come in and I like to give them all the information that I possibly can. If you're paying for a vacation, you're going to want to know all the details. You want to know what you're paying for. You don't want to just throw your money at something that you don't have any idea what's going to happen. So I like to, let people be well informed of what they are paying for. So if that takes anywhere from like 5 minutes to even like 15 minutes, that's okay with me. So I'd say about like the longest negotiation I've had maybe is even like 20 minutes. But it just kind of, I fill it out. And if the person has questions, I try to answer them the best I can. Sometimes people get done talking to me within, like 5 minutes. They're like, yeah, I want to do it. I have the cash. Let's do it right now. And I'm like, okay, that was fast. Let's go. So it really kind of depends on the customer and how familiar they are with the whole situation too.
Uh, I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to think as a fan, not a fan, but someone who would go things they would say. So if it is someone's first time, okay, what do you think is the easiest or best way for like to get them to say, okay, and be comfortable with this? Because like a lot of people come to you for your first time, and they're jumping from the moon, but they're going from zero to 1,000. Say, oh my God, I went from having nothing to being with Miss Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You know,
Yeah, I
um,
actually, that's like my specialty for some reason. I don't understand, but I get a lot of virgins. Like every trip, I think I've had at least like two virgins. Like I don't know. I think I give off a very nice vibe, maybe. I don't know. So
unintended.
yeah, I don't think people feel too intimidated by me, which is a good thing in that kind of industry, you know? So, yeah, but I work with them too. Like I say, I'm not only having, intercourse with these clients and all of that, I'm giving them almost teaching them how to be intimate with someone or like a woman or how to treat a woman when you're in the situation, you know? We're in an industry where like it's not even taboo for us anymore, you know? So meeting someone and jumping right into that can be a lot for people, not in this kind of industry.
But I feel that because y'all basically just walk them through it, especially if it's their first time. Because I feel like as someone who would just like only watches, porn in general or whatever, they would be trying to do all the acrobatic stuff that they see other
Yeah.
people do, and some do and some may not have the man meat to do all the stuff that they see. And
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And a lot of people too, I mean, like, hey, by the way, I've watched your videos and I'm not that big, I don't know what to do. Like, I should probably like, even before I do the dick check, they're like, maybe I should like fluff myself up a bit. I don't know. And I'm like, no, like you're good. It's more of the motion of the ocean. Uh, it's really the chemistry you guys have. And if they want to pretend like they're doing a film, filming with me at like they're on set, I do offer that. That's a porn star experience. It's not without a condom, so that's not what that is. But it's more of like, okay, I'm gonna play this character that I play on screen. And if I'm like, hey, what's your favorite video of mine that you've watched? And if they have a certain one, they're like, I kind of want to like role play like you did in this. I can offer that. So uh I kind of let them know that there's different directions they can take the time that we have together. And if they want to do something more like they see on film, it's obviously going to be a bit more than just a normal session, but that is an option. And yeah, a lot of guys actually come out of it saying that they feel more confident than they did before coming in because they're like, I saw you on screen. I thought you only liked big, dick or whatever. And I'm like, that's not always the case. It's emotion of the ocean. It's the person attached to the dick that really, it matters.
yeah,
And
so
so
if you're below 11 inches, she's okay with you.
yeah,
Below
no,
11.
exactly.
Oh,
I've had micro penises too. I've dealt with guys who've had that, not often. I think maybe only like once or twice after doing this for like 7 years. So, uh, and that's including breaks and stuff. But yeah, I haven't. A lot of guys think they're way smaller than they actually are. I think seeing stuff on screen constantly it makes a lot of people insecure. But then when they come to see, a provider in person, they realize that it's not that big of a deal at all.
mhm.
I think it's a whole thing that gets in people's brains. Like people see, performers and stuff, and then they think, oh, I got to be, 15 inches to satisfy said person. Then you have a lot of people out here saying, well, I'm not going to date a man unless he has 10 inches, and I'll be sad and true. Not every man that is on this earth has 10 inches. Have people
Yeah.
y'all to mess with don't have 10 inches, you know, and that's a lot. So don't like if you're interested in going to to see Miss Nice or to go to to where she works at, don't be too scared because you are worried about the size of your dick.
Yeah, no, don't be afraid of that at all. I think just be a good person and come in with an open mind. And it's definitely, if I was a guy, I'd want to experience it. So I get why there is a need for, what I do. So I don't know.
I mean,
Well, I think
even as a girl, I'd want to experience it. Like the way I would imagine is literally just hanging out in the jacuzzi and then just a sensual massage. Like maybe I'm just weird, but I feel like that just sounds like a wonderful time to spend together with someone.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. And like, you don't do that every day, So it's a cool experience. I even have like couples come in, and sometimes the guy doesn't even want to do anything. They just want to see me and the wife hook up, or, they want to go all in the hot tub together, and then all three of us go back to the room. So there's so many options to explore your sexuality in a safe, controlled environment. And that goes for women, men, couples. I think it's a great place to be able to kind of like yeah, explore your sexuality more, where you can feel like you're not going to get judged, and I'm not going to text you after the fact and try to hook up with your wife or man or whoever. It's very, you go there, you have a great time. If you want to, you come back and make it a thing for yourself or as a couple.
I have a question. This is for the female side of things. So let's say Sarah is
Yeah.
a new client. She's not a performer like she is for real, and she appears there, and like she wants to have a intimate encounter with you. Um, do y'all sell like the toys there, or should they be brought, or how would that work? Because I know, some people want like they just don't want to have the straight up, no toys, no nothing. How would
Yeah.
that work? Yeah. I don't know how to
So
say my question, but you know what I mean.
no, I know what you mean. So first brothel that I worked at, which was up in Reno, they had like a little toy shelf that people could purchase different toys and that kind of stuff and lube and all that stuff in addition to your party. At the one I work at now, we don't have that, but I make sure to bring my own toys, sanitize them, all that good stuff. So if couples do want to use toys with their party, I have that available. Or if someone wants even just like a toy show, that's also doable. They're not for purchase at the place that I work at right now.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
just because I'm just
Good to
wondering.
know.
'Cause go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
No, that's
because
all I got. Good to
no,
know.
no, because like
I've even
because
had customers bring in their own toys. Like I've had, and they're like, this is my wife's favorite toy. Can we use it? And I'm like, okay, yeah, if that makes this so much better of an experience, let's incorporate that. So I'm definitely open to ideas. I've even like have learned so much more about myself doing this job too. And like in addition to being on film. So
because I know a lot of like when it comes to some ladies who really, really, really love wearing straps. And I know they had some people have their private strap. And that's what I was trying to get at without saying bring in their personal ones. Because I don't know the rules. You can like
yeah.
you can't look at a strap on and do a dick check. It's a plastic metal, plastic glass or whatever type of, consistency, so yeah, so I had to make sure for the young ladies, the women out there who are listening, there's options for you too. You're not
Yeah,
just
no, tons of options, especially, I want to expect for the women to be a great experience too. I feel like our industry sometimes gets looked down on for the reasons of like, hey, you're like gonna steal my wife or all of this promiscuous stuff. I don't know, and this kind of allows people to see sex in a different light. And, if a toy that you love makes the party better, then by all means, like I want whoever to come in to feel as comfortable as possible.
I love
so
that.
so what
Yeah.
is so you say you've been doing this for almost 9 years now. So what has been
Not
the
nine, no. I
As seven, right?
so
seven?
yeah, I started at
Why did
the
I get nine? It's brain is not braining right now.
no, you're good. You're good.
Seven
I
years.
started at 19, so maybe that's where the nine came in.
So yeah. You've
Yeah.
been doing it for how long? What has been the toughest part of this job?
I think honestly maybe uh the stigma of it has been something that has been hard for me out of everything. Like I love what I do. I love performing. I love portraying sex in a positive light. Like I think that's really important for both men and women. So I'm happy to be a part of that. I think the part that I struggle with, like I said, is more of how people look down on us and the stigma of it because, if I wanted to do another job, now I have to worry about someone who's seen me on the internet before. Um, sometimes I've had fans recognize me. I've had like Uber drivers recognize me once I'm in the car, and that's kind of scary, you know? So it really, it's, I think the safety of it has been the hardest part for me, is just feeling safe after being kind of in the limelight for a while now.
I just want to throw this out there, fans out there. Don't be weird.
Yeah.
You do this in person. No, no, I was saying in person, like, and I mean, what I mean is like, if you randomly go to, out here we have Rouse, and you might have Kroger's where you are. If you see a random performer in Kroger's in the cereal aisle, you know, don't be weird,
Yeah.
please.
Sorry.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I definitely. Luckily, I have ran into like a lot of great people more often than not. There's always a few that ruin it for a lot of people, you know. So, like most of my clients are so respectful. They understand what I do, and I have a great time with them. And then there's like the few that get obsessive, you know, or they just are weird about it. And but at the same time, I started when I was so young, so I was very naive at the time, and this was before OnlyFans was around too, you know, so it wasn't as acceptable. um so I started at a time when it was definitely very taboo, and over time it's become more acceptable, which I think has helped a lot as well. But it also makes people, I feel like, feel more entitled to I don't know, your body or your time and that kind of thing. So it's definitely doing this job. You have to like have a lot of boundaries, which I've learned over time. So I have learned that throughout doing this.
Okay, so let's say Brenda, this brand new person, wanted to
Okay.
join. I get random names that I don't think other people know. So
It's a good
Brenda,
skill, I gotta say. Like I'm like the name, you just come up with a name.
yes.
Like,
So Brenda says, "Okay, I want to join said brothel. What advice would you give that person for this? 'Cause I know it's different than say doing porn. That's a whole different avenue. For someone who wants to join a brothel like yours, what advice would you give to them?"
it's a good question. So I have a lot of girls, even from the industry, sometimes hit me up and they're interested in this other job that I do, you know? And so I would tell them to definitely make sure it's something that you want to do. Honestly, I think it's easier probably for someone who was already a performer to get into this than someone who worked at a brothel to get into performing. So it's like a weird kind of thing with that. Um, but I would definitely tell them to do your taxes. That's the most important thing I can say. Um, I guess the other most important thing I can say is definitely have boundaries, know your own boundaries. Don't just go in and be like, everything's going to be acceptable. Like, you have to really know yourself to do this job, and you have to treat it like a job. And you have to realize that you're going to get so many kinds of personalities and people's opinions, and they're going to say it to your face there too. So you just kind of have to have tough skin as well. So I'd say definitely have boundaries, know your boundaries, do your taxes, and just, know what you're in for and treat it like a job.
And I got one more direct question about the brothel for people who's going to come there. So let's say someone comes and y'all let's phrase it like this. Do y'all have personal kits for certain people, for certain men or women who come there who need to adjust themselves before they be with a performer, with the client, with the person?
Sorry, what was the question?
Like personal kits, like if they're not smelling right down there or whatever,
Oh, okay.
y'all have kits that they could first fix that before they do anything
Yeah.
else.
So I require everyone to take a shower anyways. So I have like my own soap and stuff that I have for them. I make, eucalyptus shower spray. It smells really good. I try to make it a very good experience with all that, even smells to the shower. But yeah, so I did tell them like, okay, well, I book you. You're gonna hop in the shower. I'm gonna get you a towel. And so that way they don't really have a choice, you know? And
And
but
is
yeah,
that included in their time or is that just
I don't include it in their
okay?
time. I don't see. they're like really just trying, getting one on in the shower, and then I'm like, hey, you've been in there for a while. What are you doing? Kind of thing. But besides that, no, I don't really. I tell them to. I'm like, that's not gonna, I want you to be clean. I want you to feel confident. It's like if you're going on a date with someone, treat it like that. Like I have Listerine, I have cologne, I have all that stuff, so that way they can feel as confident as they can, and if someone does like have a certain smell down there due to whatever, if they have a health condition or whatnot, they usually already know ahead of time and they let me know about it. And then they take a shower, they have extra time in the shower. So it's very, adaptable, the situation. I've had clients who, have conditions where they can't move or they're paralyzed or that kind of thing, and I still see clients like that too. So it's really trying to make that person feel comfortable, and if they can take as much time as they need to feel clean. Sorry, that was a
Okay.
long answer. I don't know where
Oh
I was going.
no, I tell you, I told you earlier. This is the Isabella nice like time. If you want to say like a 30, don't say a 30-minute answer, but if you want to go on a 10-minute rant, this is your time. We're just here to ask the
Thank you.
questions and collect information. You
And
know.
have time.
We have all the time. Well, we don't have all the time in the world, but we have all the time that you need to get everything out. So we're here for
Right, it saves
it.
time overall too. Now that the information's out there, you could have answers to the questions. So, yeah.
So I'm gonna step off of browser right now. I'm gonna come back to it, but I wanted to make sure like we talked about you for a little bit. So what do you do for fun outside of this craziness?
So out for fun, I actually went on a hike today. I like hiking. I live kind of in like a canyon area, so I'm really into outdoors. I like gardening. I do that. I just cut down like some of my pomegranate trees so it grows better in the summer.
We love
Yeah, I like to do Pilates, hot yoga. I try to stay in shape by doing that. Pole dancing, I actually just did a content scene, or not content, it was a shoot where I was a dancer, so that was fun. But yeah, I like to stay active. I like to be in nature. I like to spend time with friends and family. And so I think pretty normal stuff. I try to keep my life outside of work pretty normal. That way I have some balance.
The only shape I'm in is round, but no, you talked about your tree. I just moved from where I used to live at, and I
Yeah.
moved because like I was renting, but we had a peach tree in the backyard, and I
You said
went
a peach
to
tree?
a peach tree,
yeah.
and
Oh,
it had two arms. It was really nice, and then like when I went to the XRC Awards, both arms was up. When I came back, the weight of the peaches had made the arm break. And
oh.
then yeah, so I'm like, and I didn't notice it. Like I noticed if I wasn't paying attention. And then the
Hmm.
next morning I look up and it's like the branch is just gone. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
wintertime does a lot of damage to these trees. Like
well
it's,
no, it was summer because it was XRCO, so it's like
oh, got it. Okay.
that
Okay.
was April,
Did
April, I
you just
believe.
not pick the peaches
Well,
enough or the,
they weren't
get
ripe
picky?
yet. It was just a lot of peaches. It was
Okay.
so
Yeah.
many peaches. It was
Yeah.
so heavy they broke. And then like when I went to my landlord, like he was supposed to come in that Monday and like trim some of the branches, but he said Monday, and XRC award was on Sunday. It broke down, and then he came over. Then he cut the entire arm off, and then like a week later, he was like, "Well, I'm gonna cut this one too." So he cut both arms off. Then it was just a little. I'm like, and then he sold it, and I sold the house, and I moved. But it was kind of like, hey, this my
Yeah.
piece. I got like I moved. I have a lemon tree now,
I have
and
a lemon tree. Yeah. And they like do the same thing almost. Like if you don't pick the lemons, it starts like going down a bit.
well,
So,
these just fall down. They just hit the ground, so it's easier. But
yeah.
and I'm like, I miss my peach tree because it was really nice. It was really nice for pictures too. I did a few
Yeah, it
like
was so
photo
beautiful.
shoots under it. So when you're talking about the pomegranate tree, it made me think of my peach tree
Think of
and
your, yeah.
like my PTSD from my peach tree. I know she does the yoga. I don't like I'm old and disabled, so
Yeah,
I
I've
can't.
seen that on your Instagram account, Sarah, right? Like you do like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl is like hella flexible. Yeah, you're amazing at yoga. Like,
I try. And see, mind you, I never truly learned like the difference between yoga and Pilates. I never really learned like the names of it. I really just like watched the video and just kind of flow through it. And then over time just kind of started doing it myself. And I'm like, I don't really know the name of what I'm doing, but I'm doing it.
you're in the state of flow, you know.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
you were you a dancer or a gymnast at all growing up?
So I did pole dance starting at like 20, but that's really the only like kind of dancing that I ever did.
Okay, yeah, no, it's impressive what you do. So that's like to hear that you haven't even, did that beforehand. That's gives me hope for my flexibility. So
I did hear that you do feature dancing though.
yeah. So
Um,
I only did one feature dancing gig actually, and that was right before the pandemic. So it was the week before everything went to shit,
Oh,
basically.
oh,
Yeah, so I went to New York for the first time, and that was to feature dance, and it was like one of the best times of my life. Like to go out there, they paid for everything, the room, to take me back and forth to the club, and I had fans like come out from even New Jersey and see me, and so it was a really great time, and I love dancing too. So that
oh.
was at Sapphire, but that was the week before COVID happened. So I haven't really went back to feature dancing since then, but that's something that I'd like to, get back into.
you were
So
a
absolutely.
gymnast, right?
Okay.
What was that?
Because
Yeah.
you were a gymnast, right?
Yeah, I did a bit of gymnastics growing up. It was like kind of gymnastics, dance, cheer kind of stuff. It was never too much of balance beam. I fell off the balance beam like once while doing a cartwheel and I was like traumatized, so I never did that again. But yeah, more like tumbling, more bars, that kind of stuff where I
Oh,
have
more so the floor work.
yeah, floor work, that kind of stuff. So but I think that's kind of too what helps me with this job, honestly, with performing and stuff. It comes in handy because I'm like, oh, I can go do this move. My parents wouldn't be too happy to hear that, but it is what it is.
Right? You're just like putting your leg behind your head, like, oh, I learned this
Right.
from cheer.
No, exactly. Yeah. It all works out though. It keeps me in shape. And, like this, I probably wouldn't honestly even be stretching as much as I do if it wasn't for this job because you understand too, being on set, even modeling just in your lingerie, they're having you do crazy poses to like show off your butt or whatever side of you. And you're like, I'm like, it's hard to turn all the way back and that kind of stuff. So yoga comes in handy with this job. It keeps us healthy, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I really like trying to spend like 10 minutes before I film to just like stretch. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the big things I like to do is just stretch and it makes the scene so much easier to go like just to do in general.
Yeah. No, even in
What's
my other job too, between clients, if I have time, I do try to stretch because it's like, even if you're just having sex, like you're not using those muscles all the time. You're not,
Mhm.
like you're laying on the bed. And I think it's good too to stretch it out, feel your body, especially with that kind of job where you're using your body a lot. So you have to feel connected in it. You have to know what you're feeling. And I think yoga helps us kind of go through the motions of that and like really feel our body with this kind of job that relies on that.
Absolutely.
wait a minute, wait a
Roscoe
minute.
looked like he had a question.
No, because like you're talking about she's talking about everybody make like photographers make people turn all these type of ways
Yeah.
and it's uncomfortable. And I'm thinking myself, since I take pictures, how many people have I made feel like that they doing too much? Like,
No, it's a good, you guys get the shot. So it's like, I'm like, oh my God, that looks amazing. But while you're doing it, you're like, I don't know. I feel like a noodle. What the hell am I doing?
well,
Like
no,
it
Mhm.
feels so wrong. But then the photo comes out and I'm like, I understand why he put me in such a weird position. Like I look so good. No.
I'm more like I'm gonna say
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
Like I like to be the type of photographer. This is on just on my end that likes to have you, because as a model, you know what looks good.
Yeah.
And I have the person move. I say, okay, every time you see the flash, whatever, wait two, 3 seconds and then move like into your next one, just so we can keep on going. And I don't gotta stop each time and say, well, put your hand up like
Right.
this, do the crane, look back at me, stick your tongue out, and lift your pinky toe. I don't want to go through all the whole metrics unless I notice something and I say, okay, move your hand back, whatever. But that's a lot because I don't want to have you like I did a photo shoot yesterday and I know the position she was in was painful and I
Yeah.
kept giving her breaks, but it was only because she was in like a squatting position for so long and then, like I know that messes with the legs and all the other stuff. But I don't know. I
I
Mind
just
you,
think too,
wasn't she
after a
on a
certain time,
countertop?
sorry, what was that?
I think she was also on a countertop for some of the pictures, so their knees were probably hurting.
Yeah, no, you got to be good. That's Arnica.
she was
I
she
hope
was she
you're
was she was
taking
on a
Arnica.
she was on a countertop on sprinkles, laying on sprinkles. So yeah. But this was like it was the one we did before, like we did for two photo shoots. She was just on a couch, and the way she was, like it was no like real support, and she was in heels.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
After a time too, like you've been modeling for a while, right? You've been an adult. So like it becomes muscle memory, like with posing and doing the shots and stuff, like your body, like at first when you're like, I remember my first scene, I had no clue what I was doing. They're like, turn this way. I'm like, I don't, like I was in school, I never really modeled before. And I'm like, this just feels so awkward. But then after a certain amount of time, you find yourself like posing without even meaning to pose. So I think it definitely over time, like muscle memory happens when modeling, happens.
Absolutely. And I feel
uh,
like that is one of the things that helped me out when I started because I first started like as a bikini slash lingerie model.
Okay.
I slowly got asked to do like more nude and like erotic photos until eventually I'm like, I'm basically fingering myself for these photos. Like, why don't I just do that in a video?
No, yeah, that's a very good. Yeah, see, I didn't have that experience at all. My like growing up totally against modeling. It was very like school, school, school. I went to college early. And so that whole being like trying out, I remember my first scene, I had no idea what I was in for. And so like I love doing scenes and I know how to pose, like even like I think sexually better than just even modeling. Like that's still something I'm working on and learning till this day is like how to actually just like model, in photos versus like cowgirl, I got it, back. But like standing there with a bikini on, I gotta applaud you for that because sometimes that's harder than even being, naked posing with, yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's
I get that. I've noticed standing poses are just harder in general. Even 8 years later, it's just sometimes it's hard to find a good standing pose.
That and you're flexing like all your muscles too. Like I know when I try to take like good like sexy pictures of the beach or whatever, I'm like, okay, I have to remember to flex like my leg, but also my stomach. But like don't look like too serious. And so it's a lot to remember versus if someone's like, all right, you're doing a cowgirl and look like it feels so good. And you're like, all right, I can work with that. Like, 'cause
Right? It's like,
also
okay,
I
no,
also
thank
think
you.
one huge thing that is sometimes hard for certain models is the fact that like we have two different photographer types because there's some photographers that really love smiles.
yeah.
And then like for me, it's like I like smiles, but I like people don't realize like when they have like a fierce face of how cute it is. And like
Yeah.
I mean, you can smile like whatever,
Yeah,
but like when you look that old seriousness
bouldering
grin is
look.
like
The
that
little
bold,
yeah.
sultry look. It looks so freaking good. And I'm like, and then like sometimes this person right here, especially when I'm taking their picture, goes back to this smile. I'm like, Sarah,
He has such a good smile though. It's like,
she does,
yeah,
like
you
it
can't be
feels a
too
beautiful.
mad at that.
She has a beautiful smile, but like it's some like in some poses, for example, it looks so. And then when she sees, she's like, "Oh, that does look good." And I'm like,
I think too, you still look so young like me. where it's like most of our shoots that probably you do a lot of teen shoots, I'm sure,
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I'm doing that and they hate the serious look for the most part. Like I'm like doing this, like trying to film myself, and they're like, no, just like smile. And I'm like, I feel so goofy right now. Like, so I feel like too, when you're in this category, like, and then you go on like a set for yourself to take photos, you're like, I'm gonna do my own photo shoot. I, you get so used to the certain type of like set that you're on. I don't know if that you could like get it that way
Absolutely.
too. But like I like doing stuff where that's why I started trying to branch out and do like more photo shoots and stuff. So I don't feel like I have to be like a teeny bopper all the time and just like smile. And so I'm learning how to do the look that you're talking about, but I don't know if I'm quite there yet.
Yeah, I've
No,
been working on it.
Yeah.
I just like Rostar said, I start out maybe 5 photos. I'll have a serious smoldering face. Then after that, I'm just cheesing again, and I just can't help it. I'm just a smiley person when I'm on camera, I'd say.
I think
Well, you
what
have a
you
huge following too, though. Like you know what I mean? Like the smile is what grabs people in, and then you get to like use the sultry to like keep them in. You know,
I
like
think she loses her serious face when I go into buffering mode.
yeah.
No, because like, and I always say it because like I say like people see me take pictures and I just freeze because I'm just thinking and it's like
Mhm.
my like it's like American Online. So like the old time was dial up. So my brain is trying to buffer like what will look good next or how can
Right.
I have someone move or like to do something different. And so they lose their smiles then. It's just like, okay, it's gone now, but I'm still buffering over here. Like,
Yeah. No, I started doing some like PA work too, like this past year, and I've noticed how much I've learned from just being on the other side of the camera too, because then you kind of know where the model's going next, or you have to follow them. And so now after being on that side and going back to like being a model, I'm like, okay, so what is a photographer trying to get? Does he want me to just slow down? Does he want me to So it's cool to see different positions of like I don't know different perspectives on set.
one thing I do like like on my photography side of things is I do make sure I ask, especially because I do a lot of pictures just for them and not for like, one of the big agencies. Always asking that question like, what picture have we not done yet that you want to make sure that we get a few of? Because like even though I think we got all the ones that we may need, you might have a specific and exact idea of what you want to have. So I try to make sure that we do a lot of those, like a lot of what you want because like as a performer and performers, you know what your fans want because they hit you up and like, oh my God, Isabella, I saw you do this. Please do more,
Yeah.
and you can say, okay, I can make sure that even if Jimbo is the only one that likes that picture, I gotta make sure that Jimbo, who is a an avid fan, gets at least a few of those because there might be more Jimbos out here that like that and just didn't message me, but they support and buy my stuff in other capacities.
Hmm.
So that's what my brain
See
works.
that. For example, my fans always ask for that like pretzel yoga pose.
Yeah.
The one of me laying down and then the one of me like standing up, like bent over, kind of like namaste one.
Oh, that's a good one. I could see. Yeah.
Those are like the top two like requested. So I find myself doing those a lot more constantly. But I do think for like photo shoots in general, I feel like we even like us as models should have a mood board like on Pinterest or something.
Yeah.
So quick question. You said, okay, I know you started the brothel 7 years ago. When did you actually, like what year? Just give me, so it's gonna answer my next questions. Did you actually enter the porn industry, like the actual hardcore stuff porn?
So let's see, the brothel I started working, I want to say maybe 2018, maybe 17. So yeah, I started bachelor parties first. I was dancing, and then I actually was still in college and I did a political science paper on brothels living in Nevada. And I was like, you know, this interests me. And then curiosity got the best of me. And I was like, I want to try this out, you know? So I did that. I think that was, yeah, I think that was 2018. And I started right before maybe 2020. I know it was December. So I think it was December 2019, like the end of December. That's when I
Okay.
started for porn. Yeah.
So, but side question, like, did you finish your psychology degree? Because I heard you might go back to it. I read
Yeah.
somewhere you're going back to it. I don't know if you went back to it or not.
Yeah, no, I put a little tweet up. I was all excited, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want to spam my account. I post some photos. So that was that. But no, I decided I do want to go back. I started college early, and I kind of got burnt out just because I was pushed into that. I didn't really have an actual high school experience. I had to get accepted into like a magnet school for business management, and then I went to college at 16. And so it was great, but math and biology and stuff was like pretty intense for me at times. And so it was a lot, and I was working three jobs too at one point. So I was like, you know, this is doing too much. I can't even concentrate on my studies, that kind of thing. And then so I went to sex work for a bit. And tried to keep like continuing my classes, but it was like really hard, especially when I first started working at the brothel because we had to be in the bar for like 9 hours at a time. And so that was ridiculous. But yeah, I stopped classes then when I was at that my first brothel. And now at 27, I have like four classes to finish my AA in psychology. So I want to finish that up and then hopefully, you know, transfer over to a university or a college that has like a good master's program for psychology. Being
Okay.
at the brothel too has like taught me a lot about, you know, just human relationships and that kind of stuff. And the like as much as I love what I do and I love performing, I think the best thing about my job is like when someone tells me at the end of the day that I have made a difference, that like they feel more confident as a person, that their relationships are growing, they have a better relationship with their wife or girlfriend now. And like just knowing that, even people who I've had like clients who they had a time like I don't know, this was one of the last things that they did before they if they have like a terminal illness or something, you know, they come and see me because it's on the bucket list. And like knowing that I can make a difference by that and them telling me that, it made me kind of want to go back into psychology and becoming a therapist just so, you know, it's nice to help people. It's nice to let people know that they're not alone in this world. And right now, I do that a lot with my body and I spend time with them one-on-one that way. But I also know that one of the biggest things I've learned while working at the brothel is just talking to someone one-on-one can make all the difference in someone's life, you know?
Also, yeah. So I read somewhere you say you was a nerd, but I can see you're more than that. You're brilliant up here. Oh my goodness, you started so young. I,
Yeah.
I started late and I was struggling. You know, I'm still struggling. No, because
Mind
I'm
you, he is a PhD candidate though. So
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
just I literally had to finish one more damn paper, and then I'll be Reverend Dr. Rostar.
Okay, that's
But
impressive. Good for you.
but so I'm burnt out, as you said. Like I'm literally
It happens.
burnt out. And like I don't know which math you were good at, but I still struggle with that. Like I don't understand algebra or
Yeah.
calculus, but statistics is like one plus one. Like
Hmm.
stats and like finite word problem probability, easy. Give me some 3x plus 5 to the square root of sigma. I have no idea what the heck that means.
I'm the opposite. I'm like word problems stress me so much out. Like I'm reading them, I'm like they're trying to trick me. I don't know how to answer this, but if something's like given to me straight up, then I'm like, okay, I can figure this out.
That's
But so I think the toughest part about going back to school is going to be like those kind of classes with, you know,
that's
what
what
you said,
they
like algebra two
that's
and that kind of stuff.
that's what they said. They
yeah.
said like if you understand finite statistics, you struggle with algebra and vice versa. And that's why I barely passed math in class in school.
That's why I ended up doing what I do now, actually, too. I went to college early, and they required, there was only like 200 students that got accepted in the program that I was in for college, and we were all high school students. But you had to graduate with your algebra 2 honors or something. And even though it wasn't required to graduate, but they wanted all the students to have that. And so I was applying to UNR. My sister went there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to UNR for, for psychology, get into the mental health field, that kind of thing. And I
Mhm.
couldn't fucking figure out like algebra too. Like that was my one class where I was like, fuck this, like I can't do this, like it was too much. And so that will be definitely a struggle when I get back. But now that I'm like, I'm not just focusing on school. I have real life experience. I've been doing this for a while. I'm like, okay, I think it will be a lot easier going back into it after taking a break because I was so burnt out at that point, you know?
Yeah, I segued into that, but my question to like reason I asked how long you were in the industry. So you've been in for a little while, and I know you haven't worked with everybody under the sun.
Yeah.
Who, if you could name your top five people who you have not worked with, who would you like to work with?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's so many great people in the industry. So to pick
If
just side.
if right now I could open the door right now and
Mhm.
bring in the top five people, and we will set up all next week, next 2 weeks. This would be people you get paid to work with, or you just get to work with. Period. Who would be the top five people you have not worked with yet? Think
I'd
of it
say
like that.
sure Dread. I've been wanting to shoot with him forever. I know I've heard great things about him. I heard that he's a great male talent, amongst other things, you know. So I would love to work with Dread. Um, it'd be cool to definitely be on Ricky Greenwood's set one day. I know he does a lot of feature films and stuff, and I have like loved acting recently. I like kind of actually am now preferring dialogue sometimes, even over like just regular scenes, you know? Um,
Mhm.
so that would be cool to be on Ricky Greenwood's set. I don't know if that counts as working with a person, right?
I
Doesn't?
mean, it
I think
works.
that still
Okay.
counts.
Still
Uh,
counts.
let's see who else. Um, So I was on set with Alexis Fox, but I was a PA one time. We talked about working together. So I'd love to eventually shoot with her too. I think she's a great role model in the industry. I love MILFs, so that works out. But yeah, I'd love to shoot with Alexis. And let's see, that's three, two more. Um, Manuel Ferreira, right? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, for real.
Okay, yeah, I heard great things about him. So I think he's a legend in the industry. I'd love to shoot with him. And definitely work with Caden Cross, maybe. I don't know if they are still doing Slade, but if that's one of the sites I haven't shot for, and I think she's a great female director. I don't think there's enough female directors out there, you know. So whenever I can see someone like look up to someone like that and see how who was already she was a performer too before, and then she started directing. I think that's amazing. So I'd love to be on her set. So those are a couple of the people that I'd like to work with for sure.
I feel there like this is crazy. I think there's a few female directors, and I believe a lot of them, except for one, really gets doesn't get the notoriety they deserve. And some people don't even know that they direct scenes
Yeah,
because everybody knows. Oh my God, her name is just left my brain. The one that does it for Girls Way. She does a
Brie.
lot. Yeah, thank you, Brie Mills.
Yeah.
Everybody knows her, but then they don't realize that certain other people that are female direct. They do a great getting job, but
Yeah, I
because
know
like
Avery Black who directed me.
Avery,
Yeah, she is a director and she was a performer before, and so she started directing too, and she was an
she still
amazing
performs.
director. So,
She still performs. She made that clear a few weeks ago. She said, "I still perform, y'all.
oh
I
no,
might be."
yeah, yeah, she performed with her too. She's been my director, and like the way she carried and like held the set together, I was like, okay, especially because she's petite like us, you know. So to see her like just delegate things, do that, I was like, okay, you're like inspiring me over here. But yeah, I think in today's age too, with what we do, it used to be a lot more focused on the directors. And I think since OnlyFans came out, what I've noticed at least, like a lot of directors aren't even really like mentioned or brought up as much anymore. Like I don't know, it's definitely been a different time in regards to that from when I started. And like you knew the director's name right away, and half of the directors you don't even know who they are anymore, really. But
I can agree
Yeah,
with
they
that
don't
because
get
I
the
know.
notoriety they deserve.
no, they do a lot too, like moving around, you're moving around cameras, you're coming up with a thing, you're doing payroll, like you're doing like seven different jobs. And I'm like, I love to perform. It is its own, has its own like hard things that come with it, but like to direct and to keep everyone on the same page, I definitely feel like they deserve more credit. So thank you to all the directors out there that, do make it possible for us to keep showing up on set.
Because I've seen, like, I can say, because I've been in way longer than both of y'all.
Oh, have
And
you?
I'm old.
How
I've
long?
been, oh, 8.
Okay, so you were definitely around. That was even right before Pornhub happened, right? Or no?
No,
Like 2007 was when.
I
I,
have
I,
to Google this.
I came in, the very first thing I did, because I was an extra in two things. And, no, it was one extra thing in '08 and one extra thing in 2000 and, 2010. So, or 9, one of the two.
You
And,
have a very young face. That's why I'm not trying to like be like, what? I didn't know,
I
but
was
like
like, I
you
look
look super
young.
what
Thank you. I am
you're
42
welcome.
years old. Thank you. God bless you. No, no, because I was doing, like, I wasn't, I've always been on the outskirts of the industry doing like photography, and I help work with one of the award shows. I do stuff that no one sees, but I'm always there. And
Yeah.
I do know that like when I first started, it used to be just full DVDs, like Sarah Lace productions, and it's all things that she directed, whatever. But now they're like so focused not on that, and you don't see that anymore. There's been so many darn changes between
Mhm.
'08 and 2025 that
A lot. Yeah.
it's so convoluted of who directs what. And there was a lot of female directors back then, like all top of brain, DeVoe, like both of them directed. You had Alexander and you had Diana DeVoe. Both of them directed. They did their own thing, whatever. But like you don't really hear about the females. So yeah, so I feel it's important that all female directors get their just due,
Mhm.
'cause they
Yeah.
do a good job. Just because you have a penis doesn't mean you can direct porn better.
Yeah, no.
And mind you, I feel like women like behind the camera bring an extra dynamic to the film, you know?
I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. Like you see things, especially different sexually as a woman, as a man, like you're gonna see different things than a woman and vice versa. And it's cool because uh I don't know, like you said, it brings a different dynamic and perspective. And you could even see that watching different scenes and like versus, from one person's perspective to another, even just like the different companies that want different things. But it's so there's just so much contrast in general with every different scene. So
I do feel that, and this is my opinion. I could be wrong. I feel that as a person who's a woman who's directing whatever, she knows what she likes as far as sexually, whatever. And like because of that, she knows what her fans may have asked her for. If she was a former performer, she might know exactly what more fans want because the dude, like a male director, isn't always a former talent and or isn't getting the same messages that y'all are forced to deal with, from what fans say to you.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. And two,
Fans,
as a performer, you as a
fans,
performer,
Fans
you
don't be
can't.
crazy.
I'm gonna say fans, like I love y'all. Please be fans and don't be don't send dick pics without
Yeah,
consent.
that's a definite no. Don't, unless you're like doing a rating a dick
Yeah.
pic, then that's
What's that?
great.
What's that?
Yeah.
Without consent. If she says, "Please send me your dick," and you say, "Yay!" and you send her a picture of your dick with the tip, and I don't mean the tip of your dick. I mean a tip. I mean my monetary tip.
Hmm.
Yeah, then it's okay. But don't just send her a dick
Exactly.
pic and say, "Here's my dick. I know you want to suck it." No, she does not want to suck your dick. She doesn't want to touch your dick. Leave your dick.
I
Leave
think there's
your
some
dick.
other things going on there too, then that the person needs to reevaluate in
Yeah,
their life. I'm like, you're not sending just to anyone either, you know? Like that's not just how you go about life is by sending dick pics,
yeah.
but
Leave your dick in
Exactly.
Montana.
yeah.
Keep your dick in Montana.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in Montana. I'm sorry, state of
Oh, back to
Montana.
no, back to the different just female directors
Sorry.
too. I noticed even just being a PA, like in doing different camera work, like I usually if I'm helping out, I'm on wide. So I'm just trying to get the people going up and down and capturing their movements. But it's easier to explain to another performer how to go about moving even in the scene, or like I need you to open up this way. I don't know. I think after performing, it's also easier to kind of let the performer understands where you're coming from more too. Like you're like, okay, you need to move this way, and they're like, oh yeah, I do need to move this way because you're the one who's modeled before. You know, you've been in these weird positions, and so you're able to relate that to the model that is behind the camera once you've already been, on the camera.
I have a question. We've asked this a few times to random people. What is the funniest or craziest thing that has happened to you on set?
Okay. This was actually this past year, and I was using a knee dildo. So this scene, this actually just came out too. I was trying to get Taylor Swift tickets for my stepbrother. And so the director was Austin Pierce, and so was POV, and we put the little dildo on his knee, right? And then I'm
Mhm.
going on it, and I've never used a knee dildo, and then it snapped my clit. It was like the most painful thing ever. So like I went on it. There's like the little base, with the metal part that holds the dick on the knee, and my clit went underneath there,
Oh, you
and it
told me
fucking
about this, and then you deleted your message.
and
Yeah, because like I remember I told you I had one.
yeah. Oh,
I
oh my God. Yeah, you did, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. So that happened me, and I was like, I had to sit out. It was like numb. I was bleeding. I'm like, my clit's never bled before. Like I was like, I had a whole new respect for down there when it came to that. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't thinking. And I had to just sit out for a good like 30 minutes before you resume this scene. And I'm just like sitting there with like an ice pack, my legs like spread open. And I'm like, this is like the not pretty side of like what you see on the camera. But yeah, so that was quite the filming for that one.
I forgot to reply to you on that. I actually
It's
had
healed, by the way, just
like
in case you're watching the video.
I have one in the other room. No, I don't. It's in here now. It's in here. But no, I because I have that and I have the ones that go like on your mouth.
Yeah, okay.
So like I have those weird thingy majigs. I'm sorry you got injured. No, that's but yeah, so like
Yeah, I'm like lucky that that's the worst thing that's happened to me. No lights have fell on me or any of that. So I'll take, I guess, the clit puncture. It's, you win some, you lose some.
I'm glad you
Yeah,
call it a clit puncture. Oh
losing.
my God.
I
That
think
makes
that beats any of my stories for sure. Like,
well,
one time I
I'm
got
glad
caught.
she's okay. I'm glad she's okay. Are you gonna
Yeah,
say,
I'm
sir?
glad
I'm
you're
sorry.
okay too.
Like, but
Yeah, I'm gonna be more careful if a knee dildo ever pops up into a scene. I'm gonna be like, okay, hold on. Let's like do this safely. Let's do
well,
this soundly. No.
well, because I know for those, it's like an external dildo and they gotta strap it in, whatever. The one I have in here is basically just plastic. So it just rubber rather. So it just
Yeah.
wraps around and it's one together, you know. Y'all can't see that what I just did, and it looks so nasty, and I'm glad it's not on camera. But yeah, yeah, it's like one big that is all stuck together, so it won't snap. But I know those are like they're so strapped in, and it like
Yeah.
can pinch and pull and crap like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
be careful with your sex toys, people.
Yeah, be
I know,
careful. It's no joke.
God. It's like one of those like sex sent me to the ER kind of stories, you
Right.
know?
They need to make, we need to have its own like, channel of that, like for adult stuff, where it's like, this is what happened.
That'd be so funny to do.
I
I
know
have
guys too, like
stories.
I
I
don't know
know,
any guys personally, but I've heard horror stories of guys like getting their like dick bent the wrong way and that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I almost feel like it's safer to be on set as a woman even than like a guy sometimes when it comes to like the sexual activity. Cause I'm like, at least with a like a dick, you can bend and break and like here, okay, we get cut and that did hurt for sure. But I don't know if I could be a male performer if I was a guy. I'm like, that has its own stuff. Like you guys go through a lot. I gotta
I
say.
remember like since this is out there, it's been he had put it out there in an interview, whatever. Like Prince Yahshua hurt his member, Yahshua hurt his member having sex once. And when I heard the story, again, I don't have as much sex as all the other people in this world. But I heard that and I was just like, oh, like when you hear the story, then you hear how it happened. Like you just like as a male, you feel like the pain yourself. Like you feel like
Yeah.
it feels like it just transfers to you. Like you hear this happen to someone's dick. What? And you hear the story and it's like, oh,
Instant
No,
pain.
that's why yeah, no, I that's why I tell too. I get a lot of clients that come in and they're like, "How do I become a male porn star?" Like all of this, and I'm like, "It's not as glamorous of a job as you really think it is." Like it's like you're better off honestly just coming here, having a good 30-minute session, hour session, whatever, and then but like to what you guys do, you're like have multiple scenes a day sometimes. You're sweating on camera. You have to keep it hard. Like it's a lot. So
And
yeah,
even
not
then, building their brand is not as easy.
that too. Yeah, it's way easier to get followers as a woman than a man. Not everyone wants to see a dick on camera all the time, you know? Like I love a good dick, but the reality is it's not the same as being a woman performer. But you guys, I think, put in so much work. But yeah, it's not for everyone. So I'm gonna say that on here too, because I get a lot of that at my other job with guys wanting to be performers, especially the younger guys that come in, like college guys, they come in like, this would be so easy to do. I'm like, you're young, you have a lot of adrenaline now, but like the reality of it is it's so much of a harder job than it looks like.
yeah, because I know like one of my good friends is just starting to do their thing, whatever. They work with a few people, whatever. But it's kind of like it's really hard for certain dudes just to like get the fan base because like personally, I don't like to look at another man's dick. I only watch Girl Girl and Girl and Machine, Girl Solo. I don't want to see another penis. Like it could be a rubber, it could be a strap on, it could be a Rubbermaid man, but not not another dick because automatically myself I'm going to compare the dicks,
Yeah.
and some people I can compete with, some people I can say, you know what, I can't make you make that sound. I wasn't born that way, so.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, like, also, like, male people don't realize some people do take, maca or vitamins or even this stuff right here behind me, this little field to, make them say, okay, I can go from 5 to 30, 5 minutes to 20 minutes. It is sometimes hard for people to say, I can get hard on command. I can come on command almost, you know. They don't realize
Yeah.
that that's hard to do. And then it's hard to say, okay, I'm about to come. Let me take my dick out, even though it feels good, and do something else to make that nut go back inside the dick and get myself time to cool down from being like too excited being inside of somebody and say, okay, let me pull out, let me lick a vagina, let me lick a titty, let me lick a booty hole, do something and say, okay. I have enough time. Okay, my nut is back to where it's supposed to be, way up here. I can go back inside, and they don't realize that it's. knowing your body, knowing theirs, and knowing what's okay, and knowing the performer, no, okay, he had to pull out for this reason, and yeah, they don't realize that it's a lot
As
into
a
it.
performer, it's a whole different understanding of your body. Like you literally have to know the inside and outside of your body to a T. When you start getting a little hot and you're like, okay, or you start getting a cramp, or like there's just so many things that you're not thinking about until you're on set, and then you realize like, wow, my mind and body and everything is really one, and you have to like learn. I've learned so much about my body personally, like being in this industry, like way more than I would have if I just went to school and never did it. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, don't get a Charlie horse, people. Stretch.
Hmm.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well,
So,
even then, like for example, I've realized over time that there's certain guys that cannot stay hard by just laying down. Like if they're
Oh
just
yeah.
completely laid flat, they will go limp even if they are horny. So it's like that person has to know themselves too, and like we also have to know what to do when that situation arises.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think too that that's what a lot of guys like they just want when they come into my job and they're like they think they know their body or whatnot and they realize after the fact they're like I didn't realize, how much I wasn't in control of my body until I had like a session with you and whatnot. But it's like during sex you learn so much because there's so much going on in your head around you, and your body and to like be able to control all of that at once. I think it's something that like you definitely have to learn over time. It's not just like that every single time.
and don't become a male performer if you just want to get pussy. There's more to it than that. I'm sorry.
Right. At
It
that
had,
point,
it,
okay,
it
4
had,
out
it
of
had, it had to be
10.
said. It had to be said. It had to be said. Because people just say,
Mhm.
"Oh, I can have sex with all these," and they'll use a negative word. But I can have sex with all these women, and yeah, I can do it every day, and I'll make money having sex with all these women out here. And no,
Yeah, and a lot of people too, like I know if you like, I don't know, I'm pretty professional on set. There's like certain boundaries too, that's your performer. You're not on a date with them. I mean, you still have to treat it like that, smell good, be respectful and all of that. But like at the end of the day, it's a very professional job. You show up, there's two professionals, they have sex. You're just coming on that to like touch and be creepy on set and stuff. You're gonna stand out. People are gonna know that you're not a professional performer. Like it's just certain aspects that like people don't even really think about while watching porn. And fans of porn who they just want to automatically be a performer. And I say, what, if you want to try it, go try it, but like at the same time you have to remember that it is a professional job. You're on set, there's camera, there's equipment, there's so many things can go wrong in an instant, and it's not just you're laying on bed and having sex. Like it's not that simple.
and I'm gonna use my friend as an example because I know he's doing his journey now. But just like I told this person, listen, if you're working with somebody who is been done doing this for a while, just listen. Because like it's because you think you can have sex doesn't mean you know how to have sex on camera. It's a performance. It's not sex. It's like this is like acting. We're acting.
Mhm.
We are actors. We're actors. Like Isabella, she is an actress. Sarah Lace, she is an actress. You know,
Yeah,
you got to realize that. This is acting. And it's a lot to
So
it.
I
I'm
tell
sorry.
people, I'm like, when I'm on, even like at my other job too, I'm like, if I'm not moaning as loud, like when fans come in and they're like, "Are you gonna act like you do on, on videos?" Or like, I'm like, if we're not doing like a porn star experience, I'm like, you can tell I'm enjoying it if I'm actually quieter. It's funny because on camera, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be loud. You need to have the emphasis,
mhm,
whatever. I make it more vocal. But like in my personal life, when I have sex, like I'm more quiet than anything, to be honest. Like if I'm enjoying it, I'm gonna enjoy it fully, and it's not so much of a performance. So like I even have to let guys at the, ranch know that. I'm like, if you want to have this real intimate time with me and I'm gonna enjoy it, it may not be what you see on camera, but just know that that's a good sign that I'm enjoying it. Like sometimes if you're overly whatever, like it looks good in porn, but when you're actually having sex with a woman, it's a different story.
exactly. I had to
Yeah.
learn how to be loud when I started porn. Like they would
Same. Yeah.
always tell me I was way too quiet. They're like, I can't even tell if you're enjoying it. But like I would make the faces, obviously, but like it's almost like your vocal cords are kind of squeezed. So you're like,
Right. No, yeah, you're like your body
Yeah, I
is
think
enjoying it, so you forget to like announce it, but like important, they're like, no, we need you to like be like vocal about it. And you're like, oh, okay. And so, but it's funny, I find myself like at the ranch, if they do want that porn experience, I'll be more vocal. But if not, if they're like, I just want to have like a real intimate experience with you, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is how it's gonna go down, and just let you know if they have like questions about like how to talk to a girl in real life or like outside of that. I let them kind of know what's up by saying basically like this, like, okay, porn's one thing, but like real sex, it's gonna be nothing like you see on camera. Like if you're meeting someone for the first time, don't just expect someone to deep throat you. Like it's not gonna happen. You have to have that trust where you're on set like I am, where I have people around me and I feel safe enough to do those sexual acts, And that's why I do like porn too, because I'm able to express that more because I have that extra protection and people on set, and I get to explore myself in that way. So,
yes, absolutely. For example, I got this random email at one point just because this person had seen me film a free use fantasy scene. They
yeah.
essentially emailed me saying, I want you to come over to my place and let me use you all day. And I was like, that's acting. Like, as
Yeah.
hot as that may sound with the right partner, that is acting. So there's still certain boundaries to that. Just because we will do something with one person doesn't mean we may do that with other people. It may just be like what we feel comfortable with doing with that person.
okay.
Yeah,
Quick.
and to add on to that's a really good way to put it, like how you worded it and everything. Even if you're first meeting someone for the first time or you're going to date with someone when you first met your boyfriend, whatever the case is, you're not going to be like that the first time you meet anyways. So I think that may be like a red flag unless it's a really like hot hookup. But like if you're actually going through the motions and all of that, you have to, I feel like, be able to trust a person before you take those sexual journeys, like before you go into crazy things like BDSM or whatever. Like you really should kind of know the person and trust that person because it is your body.
Absolutely. I like to think about this like with the right person, you won't necessarily need to use your safe words. They can see at
Yep.
that point, they can see your micro cues and know when to kind of like step it back.
A quick question. This is going back to your other job. When are you back there again? I forgot to ask that earlier.
Hmm.
So I am back
If you can
at
say,
the
I'm sorry.
oh no, you're at the end of March. So I get back on March 1st. So I'm there for the first week of April, and then I have another June trip. And so I stay for like a week at a time. So
You said what day? You said beginning of March?
the end of March,
In March.
so the first week of
Okay.
April.
So
Yeah.
y'all, okay, I know this comes out like March 17th. So that means next
Okay.
week, y'all. Next week, y'all. You have
Hmm.
7 days right now. Now you know it to go on there and say, just like I'm saying it, Isabella, I'm coming from North Dakota, and I would like to
Have a nice
but have a nice time with you. Uh, like play patty cake,
time.
and tic tac toe, and go from there. And she'll say,
Yeah.
sure, sure, Billy Bob. And, y'all set up a time and whatever. So you got a week now. Now, I left that
Yep.
question for last. I forgot it actually, but now we know. Now we know. And she said, it's the one that Dolly Parton was at. What's the name of it? I'm sorry. Say the name again.
Of what?
The brothel name,
Ranch.
Oh, so
right?
Chicken Ranch.
The Chicken Ranch. So now you know where
Chicken
to look.
Ranch broth.
There you go. Now you know where to look it up at, and you can have your fun time with her. Just to make sure. You got 7 days now. And
If you
yeah,
forget the tour dates too, you can always go on this site and it shows all the different courtesans' days that they'll be there. So a lot of people even schedule like a year ahead. I only schedule a couple like months ahead at a time because of filming and that kind of thing. So definitely keep an eye out on for the dates on the website.
also, since you just said he does a few months ahead of time, if you know, if you live in Oregon and you say, okay, my homie birthday is in 3 months, and it says that she'd be there back there in 3 months, there's a good birthday present for your buddy. Everything you know, a night
Yeah.
a nice night with Miss Nice. I'm just saying.
I've had friends buy each other, gifts with seeing me. So that has happened in the past. So yeah, if you want to surprise your friend, come down, do that. Too, if you are can't see me in person, I just got back on Cameo as well. So you can always get shout outs or like birthday wishes for your friends from me on Cameo too.
You know what? That's actually on my list, and I forgot to bring. We were talking about your cameo stuff earlier. Her cameos are fun.
Yeah.
I was watching the snippets of it on her
People get to
page.
see a different side of me. It's not like I can really be too like sexual on there, obviously. So it's more wholesome, but I get a lot of too like that's when I realized that a lot of girl fans. I had people being like, "Hey, my girlfriend came out, make a video," that kind of thing. So that's a really cool app to connect on a non-sexual level. So
Yeah, but get a cameo. I see like they're really affordable. They're quick little videos, and you'll make whomever day and night and year and decade and century. You know, the millennia. You know, times are fun right now. You can make them have more fun or whatever. Brighten their day.
Hey,
Question
not
though.
gonna lie, for funsies, I want to get a cameo for the Misfit effect. You know,
yeah,
I
totally.
might do that just to go on the app and look at it. I'll be honest, I've only been on the app once just to see it, and it was like Danny Trejo, but like I'm curious now.
You should get on there. I feel like you do really good on Cameo. You have like a very good online presence. I know you like show yourself, besides just being on set and that kind of thing. So I think you would do really good on Cameo if you're not already on it.
That'd be fun. See, I like being a customer first and like checking it out. So I might go and support you too while I'm at it.
Thanks. There.
So, quick question: what do you have like? Well, I say this comes up to March 17th. So, what has come out like that you can talk about that you can say just came out, or what is coming out, or what should your fans in Indiana look forward to?
So I just did a scene 2 days ago for Spizu, and it was an anal scene. So I know a lot of my fans look forward to those kind of scenes from me. So that's coming out. Have I done and like this is maybe like my second, third anal scene now with my new nose. Not that you can tell, really. I feel like only girls notice. But like if you're a fan, there is a difference on there. My face looks a bit different. So I have that scene hopefully coming out in the next couple of months. And I have this scene that I did last year that still hasn't come out, and it was one of the first scenes where I had to learn a lot of dialogue, and it was with Tommy Pistol. It was for Pure Taboo. Um, but yeah, it was a really good scene. I did a lot of acting, a lot of memorizing for that, and hopefully that comes out this year. I don't know though, because sorry, my foot's asleep right now. I can't feel it. Ah.
See,
Not
those
that
are
Um,
easy.
very cinematic.
Yeah, I heard Pure Taboo. Some of the scenes were a little too cray cray or like too believable, so they had to pull some of them back instead of releasing them. So if mine doesn't come out, it could have just, not like
But
was one of
It
the ones that.
be spicy.
you do realize they shoot a scene in 2023 and it comes out in 2027 for some people. Just to throw that out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Like I just had my debut for Blacked 2, and it was shot over like a year ago. So it's like sometimes it takes a whole year for it to come out for them to do marketing, all of that editing. Um, but I have a couple more scenes. Team Skis seems to like be able to they put out their scenes really fast. So I think I have a couple coming out for them. And I'm going to be more active on my OnlyFans now. Just after my nose job, I had to take a couple months off and I couldn't really shoot too much. And I wanted to get back into shape.
She has a
So there
cute
should be
nose,
more.
y'all.
And
Mhm.
I have I'm filming a content scene with Jada Kai on Sunday. I'm excited to shoot with her, so that should be a good one that you guys can look forward to.
Okay.
She's a
Make
cutie.
make sure you go out
Yes,
there and
yeah.
support. Yeah, she did my third podcast, Jada Kai. When I first started,
Okay, yeah.
didn't know what
We're
I
gonna
was doing. Like it was still like in a gym, all rough and ragged. So that's how old it is. Uh okay, where can everybody find you, support you by your content? Like where can everybody get your information?
So you guys can follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. It's going to be the same username. It's Isabella Nice. I have a lot of fake accounts, so if you don't see that it's Isabella Dice, please report them. There's been a lot of like fake pages lately. So that's where you can find me on social media. On Pornhub, you can find me just by looking at my name, Isabella Nice. My OnlyFans is linked on my X account, and that's gonna be lingerie and latte days. And I also have a backup account on Instagram with that same name. So I kind of just tied it all together. And I also have a lot of scenes for She Seduced Me. That's what I'll be shooting on Sunday for. So it's like a collab kind of site. So we get the content and that site gets the content, but that's more of where I do a lot of girl content, more artsy fartsy stuff versus what you see kind of in my scenes. So
I just want to point out, Girls are the best seasons in the world. And I I, I love dialogue. I did the whole wrap up thing, and I forgot to point this out. I know some. I love dialogue scenes is the only ones that I can really enjoy because it brings me into the scene. Because otherwise, I don't want to watch it. Like I want to know why you're there. Like if Isabella, if you do a scene with, let's say you do a scene with Sarah, like okay, you and Sarah are doing yoga, and then all of a sudden, you need help getting put in a position. Okay, I know why you're there. I know why she's touching you. I know why her hand is on your body. I know why you got into this predicament. If it's just Gonzo, it's kind of like okay, y'all are having sex.
yeah,
Click.
that's why I love working with She Seduced Me too, with a lot of my
Yeah,
content trades
I
is
like the
because
site.
yeah, no, they put out really good, like the dialogue's good and the site's good, and it's all very dialogue heavy, and it's always about like someone seducing someone, so you know the storyline, and you always get, a lot of awesome performers on that site too. So yeah, I've been shooting with them a lot and getting a lot of good content out of that site. So working
So
with them.
a quick little side that I might get paid for this, but shout out to She Seduced Me. You could get the full dialogue and go on there and see a lot of her videos because she's fun, she's amazing, she's smart. She is at the brothel. You can go have fun and play tic-tac-toe with her over there. You know, some checkers and some go fish. Make sure you go out and
Get
support all.
country, have a beer at the bar.
Exactly, exactly. Have your own karaoke day for over there, pay and pay for pay for the girlfriend GFE, pay for the whole day and have fun with Miss Nice over here. Sarah, since I'm wrapping up, where can they find you? Where can they touch you, reach you?
You guys can find me on iamsarahLace.com. All of my links and my social medias will be on there.
I am. We are the Burbank Misfits on Instagram, Burbank Misfits on Facebook and on the Twitter, and Burbank Misfits on the Blue Sky, and BurbankMisfits.com. That has everything we do from fitness, Sarah's stuff, my stuff, and everything that we're doing. I am RAWSEARR on the Twitter. I'm sorry, on the X and on the Instagram. Miss Nice, thank you for coming on. You are a joy,
Thank you so much
a
for having
pleasure.
me.
You are
You guys are
so
amazing.
awesome.
So,
Like, yeah, this is the first time we've had a long conversation, and you are great. So I look forward to all the great things that you have in the future. Everybody, please tune in next week. Bye bye.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.